Disavowing everyone. He's Mark.
And he's Britain.
And we are recording. Mark is down in San Francisco, or over in San Francisco, and we're doing this remotely through magic. Through
the magic of computers and such.
And again, with these remote streams, it's always a precarious setup, but it seems to work somehow.
And I guess I'll tell you guys real quick that I am in San Francisco because I'm on my first leg on my trip to Antarctica, to the South Pole. I've passed my first COVID test, and I'm on my way to tonight to New Zealand.
Hey, it's a land down under, but not the land down under.
The land of hobbits.
It is, yeah. You have, the land of hobbits. Weta Studio is down there. You have all Peter Jackson's thing. But yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Well, we're not getting ahead of ourselves. Today we're discussing a film called one of my favorites, Dead Heat.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I know usually I give the description, but Mark, how about you give a brief overview today about what Dead Heat was about?
Sure. Let's just jump right in and get started. So,
thank you.
Dead Heat is a movie from the 80s starring Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams.
An unlikely duo.
Yes, the unlikeliest of duos. And basically what it revolves around is Treat Williams is a cop. They're both cops, they're partners. But Treat Williams, in the middle of an investigation where they're fighting bad guys who can just tank a lot of bullets and not go down, they find this weird lab where they're resurrecting the dead, and Treat Williams ends up getting killed by some sort of monster. Like a Viking monster or something from a video game, it looks like.
Yeah.
And they
something out of Skyrim.
Yeah, exactly. And they bring him back to life as a zombie.
Yeah.
He's not a typical brain zombie. He has all his mental functions and everything like that. He's just
dead.
Undead. That means you can shoot him point blank in the head and he'll just tank it. He'll be fine.
And they use this to their advantage every time, every way they can. They have, two zombies doing the scarecrow dance as they're shooting each other with automatic weapons.
We get ahead of ourselves here.
Oh, please.
Because has 24 hours to solve the mystery of his own death and take down the bad guys because he's dissolving into soup.
Yeah.
And as Britton said, they take advantage of this gimmick in, it is a satisfying way in which they take advantage of it. Every possible thing, he's underwater for 15 minutes just waiting because he doesn't need to breathe.
Yeah.
He gets shot a bunch of times and just stands there and takes it.
He explodes in an ambulance.
Oh yeah, he has a good time doing all of it, and I think that's really what makes all the difference in this movie is that
it's fun.
Yeah, it's corny. It's stupid. But you can just tell that everyone's just kind of having a good time making it.
And it probably has one of the best one-liners put to cinema.
We'll get to that in a second because I want to talk about not the making of this movie, but the making of us watching this movie. And it's a fitting movie because it also takes place in California.
Yep.
Where
you are.
Hello. But we had this movie because Britain just found a whole bunch of notoriously bad movies.
Yeah, I have about 4 binders, one out on loan of of just movies I've researched or found or I just
was given
just through various machinations of just the worst of the worst, and I don't know how this one made it in there.
I think what happened is you saw it on a list, you saw that who starred in it, and you found a copy. You're like, Joe Piscopo, okay, I gotta find this.
Yeah. And
Go
on.
And so we put it on because we used to. I mean, we still do, I guess.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
We had we used to just watch bad movies for bad movie night, and we usually when we watch a bad movie we'll just kind of riff on it for a little bit, and this we put on and we were doing our normal riffing to it, and there came a point about maybe halfway through the movie where the riffs just stopped. And because we were so invested.
Because it's just such a fun movie that it didn't really need any input from us. Like the concept was just so unique and so interesting that we realized, I think early on, there's a lot of potential for what they could do with this, and they did it. And I think the moment where we pretty much stopped riffing was when the badass one-liner was delivered. This guy, he's going through just cell degeneration. They have to get him a lipstick, so that he kind of still looks human and still looks like he has rosy lips and everything like that. And what was it? Wildberry or something, or something like that. It just
really brings out your eyes. But that's not the line. The line is when.
Let's build it up. Word got around that one of the clues to the case is in this Chinese food restaurant or this Chinese butcher shop. And they go to investigate, and whatever machinations they use to bring the dead back to life, all these corpses of dead animals that the shop had on display start coming to life and attacking everyone,
including a full slab of beef, an entire side of beef. I think gets up and starts charging them. And
eventually they do succeed in just kind of, killing everything, and I forget what there's a female protagonist, but I think she's also the love interest. But I forget what she says to Treat Williams, but he kind of what's that?
I was gonna say she's looking him over and she's talking about how bad his degeneration is and everything.
He just looks at her and just goes, "Lady, I'm fucking dead." And we kind of just looked at each other like, "Yep, all right, this movie's legit now."
I remember when that scene happened. You kind of looked at me and said, "I hate to say this, but that was really a badass line."
Yeah.
Now, don't think that Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams are the only star power in this movie. Can you hear me?
You ducked out for a little bit, but you're back.
Don't think that this is the only star power in the movie is Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo.
Oh, no.
We have two bad guys played by two, various characters.
One is awesome, and the one is unexpected but a nice surprise.
Yeah, one is awesome and one is somehow even awesomer.
Yeah.
The first, I'll let you talk about the big bad awesome bad guy, but I'll talk about the first bad guy who was I think his name is Darren McDermott. He's the old man from A Christmas Story.
Yeah, the dad.
Yeah.
And
Bumpus.
Yeah. Oh, Bumpus's dogs, which would have been interesting if the turkey came back to life in Christmas Story, but
the duck.
Well, the duck too. Yeah. Oh, in the restaurant. Yeah. But the big surprise that we were thrilled with was Vincent Price.
You can't go wrong with Vincent Price.
And he was definitely older in this, and when they debuted him in the movie, he was just it was a video will of him, and he's sickly and in bed, and we're just, oh, come on, oh, this is sad. Oh well. And then he comes back, and then when it's the big twist of the movie, and it's like, I didn't die after all, I'm still alive, and he's just still full of life, that the life that we wanted from a Vincent Price.
It was such a nice, great movie for him to just pop up in, and now we're gonna go probably into a very, very spoiler-heavy territory.
Well, but I don't know how much more we could spoil.
But well, let's put it this way: this is a movie that is almost sequel-proof. I hear that they wanted to do a sequel to it because, again, I think everybody just had a good time making it. Even though, like, some of the lines were corny, and you could tell that some of the supposedly funny things that Joe Piscopo was saying was a little forced. Yeah. It just did seem like everyone's having a good time, but but at the end of the movie, literally everybody is dead.
Yeah, like
every character has died.
Yep, Joe Piscopo died and was reanimated, and is kind of made this brainless servant, which also has another line that we repeat a lot, like, he told me to hurt you, but I'm gonna hurt him. Now, don't forget that the line that brings him back, because the old man brings him back, and he's like, this is he's been dead for so long, his brain is mush by now, so you're only, he doesn't recognize you, he doesn't know you. So now you're gonna fight, and Joe Piscopo starts fighting Treat Williams, and Treat Williams says, he's trying to jog his memory, and says, mulberry lipstick really brings out my eyes, and that is what finds the soul of Joe Piscopo. That is the thing that charges his memory back. And then then he delivers he told me to hurt you, but I'm gonna hurt him. Just if there is one word. Okay, there's two words I could use to describe this movie. It's one is fun, and two is charming. Like,
there's a certain level of charm to it.
It is, because like at the end of the day, like you could tell these two cops are really good friends. That they're not only willing to fight and kill for each other, but they're willing to come back from the brink itself to do it.
Like in preparation for this, I was reading a few like Rotten Tomatoes scores and everything.
Yeah.
It didn't test well, it looks like, with the critics.
Really? Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably how it ended up on the list to begin with.
What was the viewer score?
Viewer score is a little bit higher. It wasn't high. It was like a 48% as opposed to the 11%. But apparently this movie, I've found over the last, I'm going to say 5 years or so, has actually gotten a little bit of a cult status.
I hope so.
More people are starting to discover this, and apparently more people are starting to really like it. Like, I think this is one of those cases that I don't think it's ever going to be a huge movie. If one of those video reviewers like the Nostalgia Critic or the Cinema Snob, or I don't know, someone like that, if they ever get their hands on it, I think it's going to probably Cinema Critic. I think it's going to turn into a big cult like phenomenon. Like, it deserves the recognition. In fact, the copy that we have on our Blu-ray shelf, I think is like a Midnight Madness kind of thing, where I think where they take cult movies or something and start and do like Blu-ray re-releases of them.
Which I was happy. I thought this was going to be one of those things where a Blu-ray release would never come out. Which I was happy it did. I think you got that for me for my birthday as well.
No, it was Christmas.
Was it Christmas? Yeah. I was thrilled.
And this is one of those movies, I think, that we looked at each other and say, listen, I understand that there is a certain amount of things you have to accept, like, all right, this is 80s, this is cheesy. This is a cheesy 80s movie, so not every dialogue is, every bit of dialogue is a home run.
Yeah, you're not going to get like Tarantino level writing or Spielberg level cinematography.
But that being said, it is something that I think that after it was done, we looked at each other and was like, how is nobody talking about this movie? It surely can't be as good as what we just witnessed. Like, this can't be real.
Yeah, it was, and the thing that baffled me is that it was, an 80s buddy cop movie with zombies. It's almost like a perfect storm for the 80s. That you would think it would just be huge, but it kind of skirted under the radar.
I think we were talking about when we first watched it, that this is probably a movie that we would have really loved as kids growing up. Especially like the climax of the movie, like he's only got like an hour left to live, and he's all messed up looking, he's all soupy, and they,
No, I was taking a swig when you said soupy, and it nearly.
Oh, I'm sorry. And so, like, they handcuff him inside an ambulance. They're like, we'll just let you sit here until you die, kind of thing. Which is, as far as plans go from a mastermind, that seems pretty good. Like, I'm not going to do anything big or elaborate. I'm just going to lock you up until you turn to mush. Yeah. And like, he finds his way, like, he's locked in with his girlfriend who's also dead. And like, I think he undoes the safety brake or whatever. Yeah. And just rolls down the hill, and as he's going to basically crash and blow up, he shouts like, "Oh yeah!"
He's having such a good time doing this, and the ambulance crashes and explodes, and there's a scene where like another ambulance is there, and they have him in a body bag, and he unzips it, and it's just all smoky from it, and kind of
smushed.
Yeah, he's all burnt and awful, and he just like walks away from it as these EMTs are looking on in horror.
And that's when we start to get to like the big, the final climax, where he's going through this facility with like a machine gun and shooting people, and here comes another zombie, and they just unload a clip of machine gun bullets at each other while they're scarecrow dancing.
Yep.
And he ends it by just like, first he locks him in this room, the other guy in this room, he throws a grenade at him, he shoots him one last time, and then the grenade just goes off. It is so ridiculous.
It's such an over-the-top movie, and it's beautiful.
The bad guy, instead of being, as the two zombies are coming after him, Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo, rather than getting killed by them, he takes his own life. He shoots himself in the head, so he doesn't have to deal with and they bring so they can kill him again.
Yeah, they bring him back.
This movie just understands what someone like me in Britain wants to see out of a movie.
The movie asked, all right, buddy cop's movie where they can bring the dead back to life, and they stay alive they stay undead for 24 hours. What can we do with that? And I think they figured everything they could do with that, and leave the audience satisfied.
Yeah, the movie doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't they did the being able to survive underwater for too long. They don't do anything like that. Like, every permutation that you can think of, they hit. They don't leave us wanting less, and they don't leave us wanting more. They hit the exact middle ground that they needed for this movie.
Did you ever have a meal that when you were done, you weren't full and you weren't still hungry? That fulfilled feeling after a Thanksgiving dinner you have. That's what we left that movie feeling.
Like, after that movie was over, I made it a point to talk about it with as many people as I could.
The thing that kind of baffles me is that, like, I know there's kind of been a resurgence in 80s pop culture, and like some shows are being based in the 80s, and 80s have made a bit of a comeback, but this is still kind of flown under the radar.
Well, here's one of the things I think it's important to know about this is shows like Stranger Things, where it has a very heavy 80s influence and stuff like that. I'm going to describe it as something like basically like baby's first 80s. Like, yeah, we all saw E.T. You know, E.T. wasn't the only movie in the 80s. Like, the movies that kind of look at 80s nowadays, you know, the pop culture 80s, like, I feel that it's almost like a surface level 80s. Like, it's almost a shallow 80s-ness that they have. Dead Heat is the real meat and potatoes of the 80s. If you want to talk about 80s movies that is just super 80s, like, this is really what the 80s were. That's Dead Heat. This is what I talk about when I talk about 80s movies.
It is probably one of the most 80s movies. There are second only to The Last Dragon, which is probably the most 80s movie I've ever seen. Like, you're almost blinded by neon.
Like, I remember we watched that movie one time. I think we were drinking. Yeah. It was a movie that was
we had no expectation
under bad movies. It was one of the quote unquote bad movies, and even though I'd heard a little bit about it, I was like, oh, I didn't think this was a bad movie, but I don't know enough about it. And I remember watching it being like, this movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I know. Like,
a 2.5 minute like dance sequence or something. I was like, yeah, this is great.
And Sho'nuff is probably one of my favorite 80s bad guys.
He is so fantastic. The Shogun of Harlem.
Who's the Shogun of Harlem?
No, when I say who's the baddest, you say Sho'nuff.
Just, that's another one if you haven't seen it. Dead Heat and The Last Dragon, both spectacular.
Here's a question for you, because I'm not going to ask what we would do differently for this movie, because we fucking made this movie, it looks like.
Yeah. I would change nothing. But
do you think, even that we have her collaborate with us a lot, do you think this would be a movie that Jenny would enjoy?
The Dead Heat or The Last Dragon? That's tough. That is tough.
I know she's very retro and everything like that, but
she likes a lot of Disney, and but then again, she does like cheesy horror as well. I think she'd like it.
I like Disney. I think she would like it too. There would be definitely I hope she's listening to this, because I know she listens to our episodes.
I hope she's not listening.
Which is very nice of her.
If she's listening, that means she has a microphone in the apartment somewhere.
Oh,
you mean on the podcast?
Yeah. You know, I'm assuming this is getting published.
We'll see.
Yeah. It might turn out to be a bad episode.
But one question I want, I know we've discussed this before, and I kind of want to bring this up again. Okay. I don't want to, like you said, there's nothing we would that really needs to be changed. I think it's for what it is. It's a perfect movie in its own category. But how would we make a sequel?
Ooh. All right, now I do have a question for you.
Go on.
Well, I really need to lay out the ground rules here. Is it same characters, Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo, or is it a fresh start? Okay.
It's Treat Williams.
All right.
We'll try both out. We'll start with original characters.
Well, because to me, it wouldn't be a good sequel without any of the original characters.
I would agree.
You might as well it would just be, at the very least, a remake or something like that. But
though there might be a way to kind of combine the two.
I think I have an idea that would make. I know we've brought this concept up before.
Yeah.
But it would fit into the 21st century.
Mm-hmm.
And it would also take into account that, you know, maybe Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams, you know, can't run and jump like they used to when they were younger. Like,
are you thinking of the lethal weapon treatment?
Yes, I am.
I like it.
In order to in order to capture the same spirit that Dead Heat had, like they are, I think, they can basically go in. Think of it almost like Virus, where they can build, they can build
biomechanical robots.
Yeah, and that's how we do it. All they need to do is a voice, and you can shoot these robots, and you can blow them up however you want, but they can just kind of put like a toaster on their head and just keep on going. As long as they have the parts they need, and they can just keep on rebuilding, almost a little bit like Ultron, I guess. But they just need a little bit of they'll be. Like the bad guys could have them like, all right, we're gonna put you in a grocery store where there is no, even some we're gonna put you in the middle of the desert where there's no mechanical things for you to rebuild, and see how you do it. And I'm sure they could find a way.
They find some ancient Native American monument, spiritual monument that they can take over.
I have a better idea. Like they're stuck there as the little robots. They leave them in the middle of the desert in New Mexico, and they're like, all right, let's see you rebuild your way now. And they rebuild themselves out of the buried ET cartridges.
It's kind of like that. What was it in Transformers 4 when Megatron was like a swarm of cubes or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just a swarm of floating.
I imagine it's one giant creature with two heads. One of Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo.
I imagine at first it's not, but at the end, they're because they have teamwork and everything, they're able to do it like that, and they're able to on their own individually. They're not enough to stop the bad guy who is, John Lithgow.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Not. I don't mean he's playing a character. I mean, John Lithgow is the bad guy.
Like literally, actor John Lithgow.
Yeah, John Lithgow. He's trying his hand at world domination.
I was gonna say which John Lithgow? John Lithgow from Cliffhanger or John Lithgow from Buckaroo Banzai?
I'm gonna say John Lithgow from Third Rock from the Sun.
That's a good John Lithgow. I think that's just John Lithgow. I think that's just John Lithgow.
That'll be the thing. He'll be Dick Solomon. He won't be
John
Lithgow. And they're trying to stop an alien takeover.
I like it. Because I guess they were just that implies that they're just like a surveying team to kind of assess humanity.
Just like how they had the old man and then Vincent Price at the top of the chain. Like John Lithgow will be the old man, and the big giant head will be
who was Shatner?
Will be the Vincent Price. Yep, exactly. So we can get Shatner in on the mix, and
so what? So my idea is a little bit different.
Okay.
So, mine takes place again modern day, and some wormy little pencil pusher in a giant corporation is just kind of going through old archives of assets that because they're like an acquisitions company that buy out or foreclose on failed businesses. And he's going through the assets and finds the Reanimator from the first movie, and or finds the designs for it, and takes him away and reanimates it again, and it's very similar to the first movie where you have these undead thugs, and he might even enhance it since it's so many years later the technology is better, and it might not be 24 hours anymore. They could just be immortal now. Mm-hmm. So like the police are having a hard time dealing with it. So they have, the CIA resurrects a program of their own. What was it, Majestic 12 or something like that, where they hire psychics, and the psychics channel Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams, and Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo possess the bodies of the psychics, and I imagine they switch bodies a lot throughout the movie. Like, you'll have Treat Williams voicing this doughy lady psychic, and Joe Piscopo. Did I say Joe Piscopo or Treat Williams?
Yeah.
Like, just different.
You said Treat Williams the first time.
All right, just you have these two kind of voice different characters, and then maybe later on have them as ghosts. And it's. Though my big worry is it's a little bit of a rehash.
I think that we can go in a different direction with it. Like, I like the idea, and I'm going to run with it a little bit.
Go on.
The reanimator stuff, all that kind of stuff that happens. First, I thought you were going to introduce Jeffrey Combs into the mix, but
that would be. We could have a crossover.
But what I'm gonna do is, they resurrect them. We'll use deep fakes so that they look the same.
Or we could just
and they can
use heavy zombie prosthetics.
But they come back, and they're now immortal, and they figure out how to destroy the machine that's reanimating people and everything, and their job's done. But now they're stuck on Earth and can't die. That's the first act, and it becomes a drama about what it means to be alive and the suffering that is life. And like it becomes like it almost becomes like an Ingmar Bergman film, where there's a lot of heavy shadows and a lot of ruminations about what it means to truly die.
You want me to hurt him, but I want you to hurt me.
I have been hurt already. Living is pain. And dying is release.
And then there's just some heavy Norwegian accented man narrating. And then these two here are battling the battle of life versus death.
And Death he's super pissed because he cannot claim their souls, even though they want him to. They try as much as they can to get it, but his powers are useless in the face of modern technology.
I imagine a soul increases in value for every day past its expiration date. Like it's almost like a savings bond.
Now I imagine that this because of the direction we go, that modern audiences are like, man, this is so poignant and brilliant. It brings into the idea of death versus technology, and what are we really doing to keep people alive, blah blah blah, and it ends up going on to sweep the Oscars, and the winner for Best Picture, Dead Heat 2, and Treat Williams is there. He's clapping everybody, shaking hands, and Joe Piscopo's lifting weights nearby, and...
Yep. And he's broadcasting remotely from the gym.
All right, guys, I think it's a great thing that we. I was like, I want to thank the Academy. Hold on a second. And
I imagine
then the music starts playing and he can't hear it.
Well, I imagine once they announce that Dead Heat 2 wins, he starts pumping faster. Dead Heat 2!
So when they're announcing the nominees, you see, everyone in the crowd waiting, and he's just a remote in the gym, just keeping his eye on the screen, slowly pumping.
Though I think he's wearing a sleeveless tuxedo.
I was thinking a bright pink sleeveless shirt, but a little bow tie.
Okay. Well, yep, I can see it.
We'll compromise.
Yeah, we'll meet in the middle. A bright pink sleeveless shirt with a collar and a bow tie.
Okay. And everyone's cheering, he pumps faster, he thanks the Academy, and that's yeah. And then when we get Dead Heat 3, which is inevitable at this point.
Oh, of course.
It's just 2.5 hours of a man farting.
What, like the
really
movie Ass from Idiocracy?
Yeah, the Academy doesn't know what to make of it anymore. It would be like if The Godfather 1, went on to do The Godfather 2, and The Godfather 2 was just Michael taking a shit for 2.5 hours. Man, oh man, yeah, we're gonna have to nominate it for Best Picture just because of legacy, but I don't know if it's gonna win this time.
Well, you would have to say it represents something. Like, it represents the current political climate in America.
It represents the need for better schooling in underprivileged areas.
I
didn't think of it like that, but
when you say it like that, it makes the farting, puts the farting into context.
Like they watch it under a different lens, and they're like, it's so bold and innovative.
I don't know. It just looks like a guy farting for 2.5 hours.
You have to look at it through the appropriate lens, because lens is the only thing that you can look at something through.
What, the fart lens? I look through the fart lens every time I have broccoli.
No, not the fart. You don't understand art. It's art.
I understand fart, and that's what that was.
I imagine that because of this, and because, again, the people are looking at it through this weird, stupid lens that it really shouldn't represent. You get a bunch of imitators trying to capture the same thing. And then you get
Scorsese releases belch.
I was gonna say Scorsese releases wet fart.
And it stars Scorsese himself.
Oh, I was gonna say it starred Leonardo DiCaprio to get the ladies in.
I don't know. I think, I know he and Scorsese work together a lot, but I don't know if Leo would trust Scorsese enough to make wet farts for 2.5 hours.
See, here's the funny thing: is it would be he's gonna be announced as the lead of Wet Fart, and people are like, oh, okay, Leo's ass, all right,
he'll bring legitimacy to the genre.
And after the first few seconds, it's like, all right, well, I've seen it. Now, what else is there to it? It's just this isn't as good as Fart. Yet Leo is still nominated for an Oscar
and still loses.
Yeah, because it's like, man, that's just to really put yourself out there like that and just wet fart for 2.5 hours. Like, what'd they feed this guy? Now, do you imagine that it's just a close-up of the ass, or do you imagine it's like him sitting in a chair?
I imagine it's a long shot that turns into a close-up over the course of 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah. And I think that, and it's like, people are like, man, and this movie was done in one take. I'm like, it looks like that, but there's just some clever editing that we've done.
Because I imagine, Leo, he tries to go method, and also goes for, making it one long 2.5 hour fart.
And by the end of it, you know how some performances really take their toll on the actors.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes they actually have to
recoup.
Get nutrients, pump them in the hospitals or something. Like, he's got to get his asshole stitched back together after 2.5 hours of wet farts.
Like he had to have a large air bladder inserted into his GI tract in order for the role.
And of course he loses the Oscar to like something like really dumb, like and Adam Sandler in Growing Up. And Adam Sandler wins, and like Leo just throws his pamphlet down, his program down at the Oscars, and farts his way out.
And the winner is American Tail 3, Feifel Does Disco. The son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
I think there was a third American Tail.
I'm not going to acknowledge it.
I don't think it's canon to the American Tail experience.
I didn't think the Western was what one was. Never mind.
I think what happened was in part 3 they discount, I think, the second one as a dream or something like that.
Oh, really?
I think so. I could be mistaken, but I think I heard that in the third one they were just like, yeah, that Western one didn't count. It wasn't real.
Like I know the
take that, Jimmy Stewart.
And your dying legacy. Because I know the American Tail is supposed to take place in the late 1800s, because I think the Statue of Liberty was still being built. And in the sequels, Feifel apparently got in the DeLorean from Back to the Future 3 in order to go to the Wild West.
Like, I think that it'd be funnier if they said that in the second one, Feifel Goes West, that you know what? The first movie doesn't count. Not canon. The first American Tail, nope. We're pretty much just selling it down the river so we can get Feifel Goes West.
It's almost like Aladdin 2 or Aladdin 3, where they said, "All right, we got Robin Williams back," and then didn't do anything well with him.
They somehow made him worse. Like, I don't know, guys. Maybe you could have brought Dan Castellaneta back for another run. He wasn't that bad.
Well, I don't think Robin Williams was the problem. I think it was just they didn't have him do anything but shtick.
Like, you could have cut the It would have been a lot funnier if they hired Robin Williams to do one line, and then the genie was just gone.
Hey!
Like, I was thinking earlier today, now this is a little bit off topic.
Yeah.
But I was thinking earlier today, like, how interesting it would be if let's take something almost set, like the prequels of Star Wars. Now, there's certain characters that can't die, like Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
So sometimes some of the tension is taken away. Like, well, we know he's gonna live.
Yeah.
Now, I think it would be cool if George Lucas was like, Episode 2, yeah, he dies. He doesn't come back.
Huh? How do you? Then how is who gives birth to Luke? And
it doesn't matter. Well, he doesn't. In any case, he will never give birth to Luke. But,
well, yeah, but who's a Skywalker? Who's Luke's dad then?
There is none.
Huh?
No Vader. Now, on one hand, you're like, that seems like a pretty big plot hole. Like,
yeah.
It would leave me with an unsettling feeling. But on the other hand, that's challenging the medium. That is innovative. That is bold right there.
Well, it would clearly be an alternate universe. It would have to be an alternate universe where Vader died.
Yeah, I think that would be really interesting to me. Like, all the bets are off in part 3.
Which, looking back at it, like, I don't think, like, yeah, Darth Vader was a cool character, but I don't think it would have stopped the rise of the Emperor. Because Jar Jar Binks put the Emperor in power.
Yeah.
Not Vader.
What I would also do is, George Lucas just goes back and he remakes he kind of, does another special edition to the original trilogy and just removes Darth Vader. So it is now canon that there was never any Vader.
Like, I don't want him to erase him from the scenery. I want him to replace them with, different characters, but not Star Wars characters. Like, in one scene is like Bozo the Clown, Or
I thought you meant like Spock.
Or yeah, Spock, like whomever. Like I just want it to be such a conspicuously misplaced person. Like in.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Like in one shot, it's like a World War I soldier, and like in another shot, it's a dog.
It's Clifford. Yeah. I think it's kind of interesting because again, I'm thinking of how it would go, like in episode 4 when when Obi-Wan's fighting Darth Vader. I do think it's kind of funny that like Obi-Wan calls him Darth. He's
Does
like,
he?
Only a master of evil, Darth. And I'm like, was that originally supposed to just be his first name was Darth? Because that would be like me saying to, like, I guess my manager or my boss or, like, I don't know, the king, like, you're only a master of evil, king. You're only a master of evil, president, you know? Like, it just seems like a weird thing to call somebody by their title instead of by their, what you know them as.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I guess so, because, yeah, there's Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, Darth... Yeah, it's... Which, begs the question, what the hell a Darth is?
Dark Lord of the Sith.
Oh.
It's just kind of...
an acronym.
What's it called, like... Well, no. It's just, what's it called?
An abbreviation?
Or something where you... Yeah, where you just kind of squeeze two things together.
Oh, I did not know that. Is that true, or are you speculating?
I am about 90% sure that's true.
Huh. You learned something new.
Yep. Now your Star Wars knowledge is officially complete.
I will forget it later.
When I left, you were but the learner. Now I am the master.
I've always been...
Oh! Hey, you shouldn't say...
Oh, I'll beep it out.
No, okay. I've always been
I
a...
won't.
That'll make people... What did he say? Yeah, I've always been a beep. What?
You shouldn't say...
You shouldn't say beep.
Hey, yeah, I'll do that. Just to... What the hell did he say? What the... Because we don't shy away from language.
Yeah,
but apparently this one thing... But apparently this one thing has gone too far.
And so far that when I repeat it back to you, it gets bleeped again. I've always been a beep. You shouldn't say beep. Like, I'll bleep it out later. Like, people go through, I imagine, and like they take the audio file and try to like peel back layer after layer to see if they can remove different levels of it.
Yeah, it also implies that you insulted me, saying like whatever terrible thing I said was.
Like I said, if I bleep out my last, if you just bleep out me saying you shouldn't say your and just replace it with another beep, it would almost seem like you said the naughty word and I repeated the naughty word back to you.
Should we cut this part out then?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
Because I don't expect you to actually bleep out.
No.
I feel like you're gonna go the lazy route and just be like, yeah, whatever. We talked about Star Wars. We talked about the Dead Heat sequel, and we talked about bleeps.
I don't know. Like that's a pretty funny joke. Like I might actually put the bleeps in there.
And people will be like, I want you to go full on. Every time we reference that we're talking about, you bleep it out. Like that last sentence would be, every time we reference bleep, you bleep it out.
All right, I'll go whole hog.
I want you to go whole hog. I will not know this. Like I will very likely not know if you did or not, and until like I don't know, a year from now almost. But yeah, I do hope that you go full hog on this.
I think I will. Well,
and I mean Kevin Bacon hog on this.
Oh, I'll try.
That's the full hog.
Yeah. But in the meantime, Dead Heat.
Good movie. Really good. It's getting a cult status, but if you do like, your cheesy, fun 80s movies, I don't know how the hell you missed out on this one, because this is the king of them all.
Yeah. One of my favorite 80s movies of all time. If you like buddy cop movies, and if you like zombie movies, and if you like a good chuckle here and there, you really can't go wrong. What are you doing? Find this movie and watch it. So, that'll do for now. Take it easy, everyone.
A toodaloo. That ought to hold a little SOPs.